Hail Variety! This is George Elrick speaking from London, England. I'm going to tell you the story of show business as we in Britain know it and love it. And in the telling of our story, we bring you a variety entertainment bigger than any which could be assembled by the greatest impresarios who have ever lived. Now, by variety, we mean the gusto and friendliness, the warmth and laughter, which for more than 100 years have been the core of show business in Britain. Let me take you straight away then to the heart of our story, to the old Holborn Empire, to hear someone who typifies the spirit of the British Music Hall.
I'm ready for bed now. Anybody? Here, listen. He started. Now, what I want to tell you is this. Before I was married, I was courting my wife 10 years. Before I was married. Then I went round to see her father. And I looked straight at him. He said, hello. I said, hello. He said, what do you want? I said, I've been courting your daughter for 10 years. He said, so what? I said, I want to marry her. He said, I thought you wanted a pension. Listen. He said, if you marry my daughter, I'll give you 3 acres and a cow. You're quite right. I'm still waiting for the 3 acres. Now,
Well, there it is, the true, irresistible spirit of Music Hall. The cheeky chappie himself, Max Miller, recorded from the stage of the old Holborn Empire. Variety in Britain was a lusty infant whose voice was first raised gleefully in the Victorian parlours and drawing rooms.
Come into the garden, Lord, for the black cat night has flown. Come into the garden, Lord, I am here at the gate alone. I am here at the gate alone.
From the parlour we moved to the tavern. And from the tavern came the Music Hall. Places like Collins, the Argyll Birkenhead, the Canterbury, the Old Oxford, where a host of great stars in the making first sang songs that were to go winging round the world. Here is one of them, that prince of Cockney comics, Harry Champion.
When I was a nipper, only 6 months old, my mother and my father too, they didn't know what to wean me on, they were in a dreadful stew. They thought of this, they thought of that, got a little bit of old cod row. I said, pop round to the old cook shop and I tell you what'll make me grow. Boiled beef and carrots, that's the stuff you don't be tell. Makes you fat and it keeps you well done, live like vegetarian. Of food they give to parrots, from morning I blow out the kind of boiled beef and carrots. Da-da-dee-da-dee-da-da, like it is like a bite in the dog of good old Harry. Bravo, Harry.
Yes, bravo, Harry Champion. Now let's travel from the East End of London to the West End, where Ella Shields is singing her own Burlington Bertie.
I'm Burlington Bertie. I rise at 10:30, then saunter along like a tog. I walk down the Strand with my gloves on my hand, and I walk down again with them off. I'm all airs and graces, correct easy paces. So long without food, I forgot where my face is. I'm Bert. I haven't a shirt, but my people are well off, you know. Nearly Smith to Lord Rosebery. I'm Burlington Bertie from Bow.
What was the secret of these giants of the halls? Was it because so many of the songs were based on down-to-earth domestic happenings in everyday life? Let's hear what Billy Williams, the man in the velvet suit, has to say about it.
Father papered the parlor, but he'd no right to do it, so there. Our parlor wanted papering, and Pa said it was waste. to call the paper hangers in, and so he made some paste. He got some rolls of paper, a ladder and a brush, and with me mother's nightgown on at it, he made a rush. When father papered the parlour, you couldn't see dad for paste. Dabbing it here, dabbing it there was paste and paper everywhere. Mother was stuck to the ceiling and the kids were stuck to the floor. You never seen such a bloomin' family so stuck up before. Father papered the parlour, you couldn't see pa for paste. He did look a sight too. All over flour and stuff. You never saw such a bloomin' family so stuck up before.
About this time, one of the big favourites was Mary Lloyd.
Now I always having it if you fancy it. If you fancy it, that's understood. And suppose it makes you fat, I don't worry over that. 'Cause a little of what you fancy does you good.
The golden age of music hall had begun. There were names like Jenny Hill, Bessie Belmore, the great MacDermot, George Leyburn, the great Vance, George Lashwood, and the other towering figures of those early days. Among them was that comic genius, Dan Leno, who made this record in 1901.
There's not a place in all the land like the good old Tower of London, where everything is awfully grand in the glorious Tower of London. For the walls are high and the dungeons deep, refreshments there are very, very cheap, but the beer it is not warranted to keep in the good old Tower of London. Sing hey, sing ho, for the beer in the Tower of London. Standing with our backs to the refreshment room, we get a lovely view of the tower. Follow me, ladies. Standing with your back to the tower, you get a lovely view of the refreshment room.
We continue to weave the pattern of show business and bring you memories of artists like Gus Elam, the very essence of Cockney humour.
It's a great big shame, and if she belonged to me, I'd let her know who's who. And nagging at a fella what is 6'3", and her only 5'2". Hadn't been married not a month nor more, when underneath her thumb goes Jim. How isn't it a pity as the likes of her should pat upon the likes of him?
Yes, and it's a great big shame that many of us didn't see Lily Morris sweep onto the stage with her broad wink and sing,
"Don't have any more, Mrs. Moore. Mrs. Moore, please don't have any more. The more you have, the more you'll want. They say enough is as good as a feast any day. If you have any more, Mrs. Moore, you'll have to take the house next door. They're all right when they're here, but take my advice, oh dear, don't have any more, Mrs. Moore."
Yes, that song used to bring broad smiles, but you hadn't had a real night out unless there was a hint of tears to temper the laughter. A master of sentiment was Albert Chevalier. This recording of him is many years old, but I know you'll forgive that in the pleasure of hearing his voice. And who will say that the message of my old Dutch is dimmed even today?
We've been together now for 40 years, and it don't seem a day too much. Oh, there ain't a lady living in the land as I swap for me dear old Dutch. No, there ain't a lady living in the land as I what to me dear all done.
And in the grim days, as well as in the joyous ones, the performers and the songs they sang played a vital part. During the Boer War, the men overseas and the folks at home were singing,
Goodbye, Johnny, I'm a free goose. Going great, my heart will go. Something tells me I am needed at the front to fight the war.
Popular songs have always inspired the people of Britain when they were defending her shores against the enemy. In those days, Arthur Rhys was singing,
Sons of the sea, all British born, sailing every ocean, laughing first to scorn. They may fill their ships with land and think they know the game, but they can't fill the voice of the bulldog breed who made old England a name.
The South African War ended, but soon again our troops were on the march because the First World War was upon us. Artists like Violet Lorraine and George Roby boosted our courage and morale by singing to the Tommies, "If You Were the Only Girl in the World."
Nothing else would matter in this world a good day. We could go on loving in the same old way. A garden of Eden just made for two, with nothing tomorrow due. I could say such wonderful things to you. There would be such wonderful things to do if you were the only girl in the world, and you were the
These stars were giants of the halls, but how many of them were tiny bundles of energy? There was George Mozart, Billy Merson, Harry Weldon, Hilda Glider, Whit Cunliffe, and of course, Little Titch.
For I'm a soldier, a territorial. The girls will say when I'm on parade, there's one of the boys of the old brigade. If ever I go to war, I drive the enemy bar me. Hi, hi, never say die, I'm one of the deathless army.
Now, when we're in the company of dear old pals, I'm sure all of us have lifted our voices in close harmony and sung Gertie Gitana's famous Nellie D.
There's an old mill by the stream, Nellie Dean, where we used to sit and dream, Nellie Dean, and the water as they flow seemed to murmur sweet and blue. You're my heart's desire. I love you, Nellie Dean.
Scotland, of course, gave us artists like Will Fife and the unforgettable Harry Lauder, whose songs went round the world. Come on, Harry, me boy, let's hear you sing your Roman in the Gloamin'.
Roman
roaming in the gloaming on the bonny banks of Clyde. Roaming in the gloaming with my laddie by my side. When the sun has gone to rest, that's the time that we love best. Oh, it's lovely roaming in the gloaming, roaming in the gloaming on the bonny banks of Clyde. Roaming in the gloaming with my laddie by my side. When the sun has gone to rest, that's the time that we love best. Oh, it's lovely roaming in the gloaming.
The comic sketch was also a great favourite. Charlie Chaplin brought howls of laughter in Fred Carnot's Mumming Birds. Will Murray had his riotous Casey's Court. Wee Georgie Wood was the cheeky boy to his mother Dolly Harmer. Rob Wilton had his Special Fire Brigade. And Charlie Austin, as Parker P.C., ran his own police station.
This is my station. I'm doing fine since I've opened it. I'm doing everything cheaper than the other stations, you see. Where they charge them 40 shillings or a month, I can do it for about 3 or 4 bucks, you see. There you are. Oi, here comes a client. Oi.
What you want?
Eh?
What you want?
What do I want? Here, what have you got in that bundle round your foot?
Guard.
Guard, I shall have to search you.
Search me? What for?
Oh, you might have a foot in there for all I know, and I'll have to search your pockets as well. Now then, what's this?
Money.
Where did you get it?
Work for it.
You mug. I shall have to pinch you.
What for?
Working for money while there's a dole on. Go on.
And believe me, Parker P.C. would have had a busy time with motorists like Harry Tate, who is about to leave for the coast in his new motor car.
How long will it take you to get there?
Oh, I don't know. How many miles is it?
About 90 miles?
90 miles? Oh, about half an hour, I suppose. Somewhere about that time.
Half an hour? My, that's a terrible speed, isn't it?
Oh, it's only half speed. Of course, if the roads were straight, we should do it, what, supercharged, quarter of an hour or 15 minutes.
But don't you find that very expensive?
It is rather expensive. It runs into about 1 and 2.5 a mile. Of course, with friends and drinks and driving people home at night, it runs into about £1.19 and 11 a mile. That is according to my son's diary.
Harry Tate finally arrives at his destination and leaves his son in the hands of a rather eccentric schoolmaster, who turns out to be none other than Will Hay.
Well, come on, who signed the Magna Carta?
Well, what is it?
What's what?
The Magna, whatever it is.
Oh, the Magna Carta?
Yes.
Well, the Magna Carta was,
Well, what was it?
It doesn't matter what it was. I want to know who signed it.
Do you know who signed it?
Well, of course I know.
Well, what do you want to ask us for? As long as it was signed, why worry about it? Makes a lot of talk about nothing. Get on with something else.
I'm not getting on with anything else till we've settled who signed the Magna Carta.
Well, go on. We'll buy it. Who did?
Buy it? I'm not selling anything. King Charles signed the Magna Carta.
I know that.
Well, why didn't you say so when I asked you?
I didn't know then.
You say that King Charles signed the Magna Carta?
He did.
Where?
What?
I said where? Where did he sign it?
Well, the Magna Carta was signed at,
I know where it was signed.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Well, where was it signed?
At the bottom.
Well, we know that, you idiot. We want to know the name of the place.
Oh, the place?
Yes.
I think it was signed at Dover.
Dover? Nonsense. That's where William the Conqueror landed.
Oh, I always thought he landed.
How can we get 100 years of show business into one record? Even Variety's great men of mystery, Maskelyne and Devant, or the great Walford Bodie couldn't do it. We can pick only a few highlights from the days when Variety was king. But who can forget such names as Clarice Main, G.H. Eliot, Vesta Tilley, and Eugene Stratton?
She's my lady love, she is my dove, my baby love. She's no gal for setting down to dream, she's the only queen that's gonna do. I know she likes me, I know she likes me, because she says so. She is the lily of Laguna, she is my lily and my rose.
From the gentle voice of Eugene Stratton to the verve and swagger of Florrie Ford as she takes us to the old Bull and Bush.
Come, come, come and make eyes at me down at the old Bull and Bush. Come, come, have some port wine with me down at the old Bull and Bush, Bush, Bush. Hear the little German band, la, 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 la. Just let me hold your hand, dear. Do, come and have a drink or two down at the old Bull and Bush, Bush, Bush.
Now, who do we see strolling onto the stage with his top hat, gloves, and cane? None other than Albert Whelan, whistling his famous signature tune. How many of you would like to have done what Charlie Coburn did at Monte Carlo?
As I walk along the Point Boulogne with an independent air, you can hear the girls declare he must be a millionaire. You can hear them sigh and wish that I would see them wink to the other eye as the man who broke the bank at Monte Carlo. As I walk along the Point Boulogne with an independent air, you can hear the girls declare he must be a millionaire. You can hear them sigh and wish that I would see them wink to the other eye as the man who broke the bank at Monte Carlo.